Joining us now to talk about his program and high school football in general, a guy that's been doing this for over 4 decades now. Spent a whole bunch of time at Newman and then, of course, went off to Texas, where he was a coach for many years at Country Day School in the Fort Worth area. Came back to the New Orleans area to St. Martin's, where he's entering his 3rd year as head football coach. He's the athletic director of the Saints as well. It's great to welcome Frank Gendusa to the show. Frank, nice to have you with us. I hope you're doing fine in these unusual times.
Hanging in there, Ken, just like all the other coaches, just trying to keep our kids focused and trying to get them ready, and hopefully we're going to play on that week of the 8th and 9th of October.
Yeah, in the last couple of days, of course, we've seen the indication that the governor is going to keep Louisiana in phase 2, which means you won't get another opportunity to change that until, another 2 weeks down the road in September. That would still provide enough time to start that second week of October, but does it start making you more concerned and a little bit more jittery about the season?
Oh, I guess so, Ken. I'm sort of over it now. We've been up and down and up and down and up and down for the last couple of months. We starting back in mid-June when we were able to start training a little bit. So now I guess it's just sit back, try to get your kids prepared, and just take it as it comes. I don't have anything to say about it. Just have to wait and see what the powers to be say.
And yet a lot of coaches have spoken out, public and private, really pretty much not demanding, but really asking the LHSAA to step in and finally just make a decision and not so much to follow the governor's edict, because they're playing football in Texas, playing football in Alabama, playing football in Florida, playing football in Kentucky, about to start football in Mississippi, and yet Louisiana's not close. So the thought process is understanding. Some have been very vocal about it, and you're more of the mindset of let's just wait and let it play itself out, correct?
Well, I think you have to. You can. I don't have all the facts and all the information that the people are making those decisions are, and I'm just trying to keep, like I said, try to keep my kids focused and be ready to rock and roll when it's time to play. We really want to play. I think our kids deserve it. I know the coaches are real antsy. We're excited about this year. I think my team in particular, this is my 3rd year, and I think this is going to be our best team that we put forward. We just want to become more competitive, and the only way to do that is to get out there and play and get better week in and week out.
One of the concerns always at St. Martin's has been numbers. How about your numbers? How are they right now?
I'll have 30 kids on the roster, and that's 9th through 12th grade. I'm still working on building that up. I'd like to get between that 35 and 40 number, with only 188, 190 kids in the high school. It's a little tough trying to keep numbers up and trying to play football. But I got 30 kids, and a lot of them, even though they're young, have been with the program for a number of years now.
Frank Gendusa visiting with us from St. Martin's Episcopal. And, of course, you mentioned it. You're excited about the prospects this season. You knew going in it was a rebuilding job, for lack of a better word. It was not an easy place. It was not an easy job to start with, and you understood that. Your team has been competitive enough to win 3 games the last 2 years. What's it going to take to get the program to the proper numbers and to be able to build a consistent winner in your mind?
Well, I think we have to learn how to compete, and that's the toughest thing to teach kids. There's one thing about going out and playing, and there's another thing that going out and learning how to compete. And I think, they asked me when I got hired, how long it would take, and I told them probably about 5 years to get the program on its feet and get it going in the right direction. That's numbers as well as a consistency in the program. And you guys know that your middle school feeder programs, especially in schools that are sort of K through 5 or middle school through 12, it's very important to get a good foundation for those kids, but also to have a progression of learning. And I think that's what was missing big time at St. Martin's. I had the middle school doing something totally different than the high school kids were, and then you get them up there, and then it's a whole new learning process. So what we're trying to do is build our middle school programs, and then hopefully we can build up into our varsity program, get our numbers up. Winning helps, I can tell you that.
You have an interesting background to draw upon because being at Newman as long as you were, there are clear similarities. Smaller high school in terms of numbers of boys, and a private school that is, for lack of a better term, costly, and with parents who typically want their children to get the best educations possible, where athletics might not be the first priority. I think there are similarities there, and yet you had success at Newman, and they're still having success. Can you draw upon that based upon the model that's existed there to be successful at St. Martin's?
Well, I think, I've been at a couple of other independent schools. I've been at St. Martin's, and then I was at Fort Worth Country Day. Similar kinds of philosophies about education and all. The good thing about Newman and about Fort Worth Country Day, and what I really love about getting into St. Martin's now, is that I have an administration that understands that athletics plays an important role in the development of our kids, not only from the standpoint of, providing an opportunity for them to play, but it provides a learning that doesn't take place in the classrooms. Kids learn how to, one, depend on each other. They learn discipline. All of those things that you get in our classroom, which is the field or in the gyms. And it's getting that support from your administration is a big part of the success that you can have in an independent or private school.
I think it's important to know that, because I have always maintained, and I've shared this frequently, that yes, you can be successful academically and be successful athletically. There are so many examples of it, and you absolutely should strive for success in every endeavor that you get into. And certainly I feel that's the case with athletics in St. Martin's, and there is a history there in athletics where there has been great success previously and can be again. So I'm quite sure you wouldn't have taken the job if you didn't feel like it was something that you could be successful at.
Well, I was very fortunate, once again, going into St. Martin's. Dr. Sorrells, who's our head of school, we worked together a number of years when I was at Newman. And so we knew each other, from past experiences. And like I said, it's just a nice feeling. It's a challenge to get a program going. I think that's what led me into it. And I'm excited about being there, and I'm excited about our future at St. Martin's.
About 3 or 4 minutes left with Frank Gendusa of St. Martin. So now talk a little bit about your team and about some of the players that you're excited about and players that you feel like will be players that people will get to know pretty well based upon their abilities.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of kids returning, especially my senior group. Monty Lewis, who's a linebacker, running back for us. He's a big kid. He's 6'2", weighs about 215. Runs really hard when he's carrying the ball. Also plays a good spot at that outside linebacker for us. Jonathan Castaneda, who's coming off a knee surgery but is back full strength. He's a 6'1", 250-pound running back. Also plays our Mike linebacker. So we got some good size in a couple of key positions. Eric Berthelot is a senior down lineman, plays defensive end for us, also some offensive line. He's a 2-year starter. Christian Peavy is a DB, started for us last year. He'll be one of our better corners this year. Little Ben Hoppy, a wide receiver, senior, back from last year. And then we have some really young kids who have been with the program. Some of them have actually played as 8th graders for me my first year I was at St. Martin's. I got the Shank brothers, Sean and Skyler, who are O-line, D-line guys that really give us some size up front. Stephen Brow, our junior, who has played outside linebacker for us, is back again this year. I guess our key spots that we've had in our skills on offense, we had a little freshman quarterback last year, and Matt Menino. He's a sophomore this year, and he's worked really hard in the weight room with a trainer this year and is ready to play. He's throwing the ball a lot better, and hopefully that'll help open up our offense and give our running game a little breather, just to be able to throw the ball a little better. I have my one thing I really like about being at St. Martin's, I get a chance to coach my grandson. His name's Grant. And he's a tight end, defensive end. He's a sophomore this year, and he's played and started for us at those same positions since 8th grade. And then I'm really fortunate. I got a couple of newcomers coming up. Little Kaheem Smith will be a freshman. He's a quarterback, running back. He's a great athlete. He's not a gigantic kid, but he has all those kind of moves you need from a kid with a lot of athleticism that can play those positions. And another little kid, Chris Profit. He'll probably play in the secondary for me. He's a sort of free safety guy. He can come up and hit you and also play the pass real well. And for the first time in a long time, I got a couple of young linemen in Dominic Hogan and Manny Bajarin. Usually I don't get a lot of freshmen who can possibly start for me at the line position, but they will be there. So I got a nice little group. And then when I add in Tim Roberts and Wyatt Powell, two sophomores who played and started last year, I got 7 or 8 guys back on defense and 7 guys back on offense this year.
Well, that's encouraging to hear the numbers and also to hear some of the quality of players as well. Last but not least, how about your district? How do you see the league this year?
We're in a tough district. There's only 4 teams in our district that actually play for district title. It's West St. John, Riverside, Country Day, and us. And we've sort of been in the cellar the last couple of years. I don't know, how we'll fare against those 3 teams. All of them are playoff teams. All of them went deep into the playoffs. But I am hoping that we're going to sort of close that gap and then be very competitive and hope we can sneak up and surprise 1 or 2 of them this year. But, I guess you're looking at a West St. John, Riverside, Country Day kind of finish if I had to, predict from last year. But
Sure.
There's some good football teams in our district, and we got our work cut out for us.
No question. They don't do you any favors with those pairings.
No, not at all.
Even though Country Day lost their 7-foot quarterback. I'm exaggerating, of course, but
he was a great player, and he was tough to stop last year. And wish him well over at Tulane, and it's going to be nice to keep up with him.
Yep, and Kevin Deiser is going to have a better team at Riverside this year, no question. West St. John is West St. John, so
absolutely.
good luck with that.
I know them from my days back at Newman. We always had great games, and they seem to have gotten better. So it's going to be a tough road for us.
Well, we look forward to it. And the biggest thing is to have the opportunity, and I think we're all hoping that is the case, regardless of people's opinions. People are passionate. I understand that completely. People are trying to do the right thing on all sides, and I think that needs to be understood before we cast too many aspersions.
Exactly.
Frank Gendusa, thank you. I really appreciate the time tonight. I appreciate you and our relationship. Look, keep working hard, keep sawing wood. Good things are bound to happen soon, and let's hope we're talking about a football game sometime soon.
Thanks a lot, Ken. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you. It's Frank Gendusa of St. Martin's Episcopal.